Hey y'all. I ran out of time on the other video because my class was about to start, so I just need to go over this last part, which is approximating square roots to the nearest tenth without a calculator. It's going to be the same pattern over and over again. So if I ask you, or anytime you're asked to estimate the nearest tenth without a calculator, you're going to start very similar to when we estimated to the nearest whole number. We have to find the two closest perfect squares. So for 28, the two perfect closest squares would be 25 and 36. Those are perfect squares, and you're going to start with the first one because it's going to be between here. So it's not, okay, so the square root of 25 is 5. So our answer is going to be 5 point something. It's not going to be 6 point something because it's not above 36. So this marker doesn't seem to be very dark. 5 point something. All right, now to get to the nearest tenth, we have to do two things. We have to find the difference between the number we're talking about and the first number. So the difference here is 3. 28 minus 25 is 3. And we need to divide that by the difference between the perfect squares. So between 25 and 36, that is not 11. 11, sorry. 25 and 36 is 11. So we divide 3 by 11. And I'm just going to go through this quickly because this is not about division. 2, let's see, that's 8, 7. So we know it's going to be 5.27, and we're rounding to the nearest tenth. Then my 2 is going to round up to a 3 because my 7 is larger than 5. So 5.3 would be a good estimate. Now, I have my calculator, and I'm going to type in the square root of 28. And the answer is 5.29. So we were very close, 5.27, 5.29. And it's that same pattern over and over again. So let me show you with 57. The two closest perfect squares are 64 and 49. We're going to start with the first one. So the square root of 49 is 7. So I know my answer is going to be 7 point something. And I need to divide the difference between the number we're talking about and 49. So 57 minus 49 is 8. Whoops. And then the difference between my two perfect squares. So 64 minus 49 is it 15? And yes, it's 15. So 8 divided by 15. Whoops. And then 8 divided by 15. Now, you wouldn't have a calculator, but I don't want to make your video notes longer than they need to be. 8 divided by 15 is 0.53 repeating. So if that's my decimal, 0.53, then it's going to be 7.5 is my estimation. And I'm just going to check it. So I'm going to type in the square root of 57, and the answer is 7.54. So we are close. All right, square root of 11. My two perfect squares are 9 and 16. We're going to start with our first one. The square root of 9 is 3, so 3 point something. And then we need to divide the difference between 11 and 9, which is 2, and the difference between 9 and 16, which is 7. So 2 divided by 7 is 856, so 0.28, which means my 2 would round up to 3, so 3.3 is what I think would be my estimation. I'm going to type in the square root of 11, and the answer is 3.31, and I was at 3.28. So again, we're very close for estimating. Now, we have 2 more, so let me erase. Sorry. All right. 2 more. So we had number 4 was the square root of 41, and then you try the square root of 73. Now, if you think you're ready to try them both, then pause it and try them both, and then you can watch it. I'm going to change. The blue's not working very well. All right, the square root of 41 is between the two perfect squares, 36 and 49. Again, we start with the first one, so it's going to be 6 point something. Square root of 36 is 6. And I need to divide. The difference between 41 and 36 is 5. And the difference here is 13, right? 49 minus 36, 14. And then 5 divided by 13, 13, 26, 39. So I think it's going to be 3 times. And we're left with 11. And then 13 into 110. It's not going to be 10. I don't think it'll be 9. So maybe 8. 8 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. Carry the 2. 8 times 1. And then we're left with 6. So let me just see. Make sure. 13 times 8. Yeah. So my answer is 6.38. So 6.4. And then let me just check. The square root of 41 is 6.4. All right, you try this one and pause it, work it, and then press play. 81 and 64. All right, so it's going to be 8 point. So we subtract, and we get 9 out of, what is that, 74, 17. Okay, 73, 64. So 9 divided by 17, 0.52. So this would be 8.5. Would be a good estimate. I hope you got 8.5. Now let's check. The square root of 73 is 8.54. So, I know this was quick. I'm sorry I didn't have enough time to get it done. But again, it's the same pattern. You start with the first perfect square, because it's going to be between here. So, like in this problem, it wouldn't be 9 point something, because that would be too big. So, it's going to be 8 point something. Then you're going to divide the difference between the first two, and then the difference between the perfect squares. All right, we'll practice more.